Evening in Manhattan was bathed in the glow of billboards and storefront lights. The city never slept, and its elite establishments were filled with businessmen, politicians, and celebrities. In one of New York's most prestigious restaurants, Trump Lux, the usual atmosphere of luxury and sophistication prevailed. But today was an unusual day. Through the massive doors of the restaurant walked a man in a sharp suit. His stride was confident, his gaze observant. Donald Trump had decided to visit his own restaurant incognito, without prior notice or security. "Let's see how things run when I'm not around," he muttered to himself as he took a seat at a corner table by the window. Trump enjoyed these surprise inspections. He knew that when the owner wasn't present, employees tended to relax. That was when their true service quality could be seen. He picked up the menu and began studying the options, waiting for a waiter. After a few minutes, a young woman in her mid-20s approached his table. Her name tag read Emma . But instead of a welcoming smile and polite demeanor, her face showed boredom and irritation. "Good evening. What are you ordering?" she said flatly, not even looking at him. Trump raised an eyebrow. "Good evening," he replied, already sensing the evening would be interesting. "Have you decided?" she asked with indifference. "Yes. I'll have a medium rare steak and a glass of good red wine." She sighed and rolled her eyes. "Our kitchen is busy. It'll take a while." Trump smiled slightly. He wasn't used to this kind of service. "That's fine. I can wait," he said calmly. Emma scoffed. "Sure. Will you be leaving a tip? Or are you one of those people who think waiters already get paid enough?" Trump looked at her with curiosity. "Do you always talk to customers like this?" She shrugged. "I'm just tired. Same thing every day. Customers come in acting like they're kings of the world, expecting special treatment, especially the rich ones." Trump chuckled. "Interesting." She crossed her arms. "What's interesting?" "Just your approach," he said. "I think I'll observe you a little longer." She smirked. "Suit yourself." She had no idea who she was talking to. A few minutes later, the restaurant manager, Mr. Carlyle, approached the table. A tall, well-dressed man, he carried himself with the professionalism expected in such an establishment. When he saw Trump, his expression instantly changed. "Mr. Trump!" he exclaimed, barely keeping his composure. Trump calmly took a sip of his water and nodded. "Good evening, Carlyle. How's business?" The manager paled. Good sir. What brings you here? You usually announce your visits." "Exactly. But today, I made an exception." Carlyle swallowed nervously. "I hope everything is to your satisfaction." Trump leaned forward slightly. "Let's talk about the Sikh service." The manager turned even paler. "Is something wrong?" "The waitress, Emma. What can you tell me about her?" Carlyle frowned. "Emma? She's fairly new. Smart, quick, but a bit too sharp-tongued sometimes." "Have you checked how she interacts with customers?" The manager tensed. "Well, there have been complaints." Trump leaned back in his chair. "I just got a personal demonstration." Carlyle turned red. "Oh, no." Trump smirked. "Let's see how she gets out of this one." A moment later, Emma returned with the tray. "Here's your order," she said with the same indifferent tone. But before Trump could respond, the manager stepped in. "Emma, do you even know who you're talking to?" She frowned. "Just another customer?" "This is Donald Trump. He owns this restaurant." Emma froze. "What? You just gave attitude to your boss?" Her face turned pale. I didn't know. I'm so sorry." Carlyle expected Trump to fire her on the spot. But Trump simply raised an eyebrow. "Surprised?" I, I, I didn't mean, she stammered, now panicking. Why did you think it was okay to be rude to me? Because I looked like an ordinary person? Emma was silent. Exactly, he said. You shouldn't judge people by their appearance. Customers are customers, and respect should never depend on their status. She nodded, realizing her mistake. The manager leaned forward. Mr. Trump, should I fire her? Trump shook his head. No, that won't be necessary. Emma exhaled in relief. But, he continued, she needs customer service training. Carlyle nodded. Of course, sir. Trump looked at Emma. Do you agree? She nodded quickly. Yes, I understand. I'm really sorry. Trump smiled. Good. I hope this won't happen again. As he left her a generous tip. Emma was shocked. But I don't deserve this, Trump smirked. It's not a reward. It's a lesson. From that day on, Emma changed her attitude toward work and became one of the restaurant's best waitresses. And Trump simply walked off into the night, knowing he had once again done something worthwhile. Continuation with details. A new chance for Emma and an unexpected turn. A few weeks had passed since Emma received her second chance from Donald Trump. She was determined to correct her mistakes and do everything possible to become the best employee at the restaurant. After the customer service training, she began to see her work in a new light. Before, it was important to her simply to fulfill her duties. But now she genuinely wanted every customer to feel special. Now, instead of just performing her duties with minimal effort, Emma approached every order with enthusiasm. She started to remember the preferences of regular customers, paying attention to details she hadn't noticed before. There was no more dissatisfaction in her voice, no more hidden resentment, only a genuine desire to provide the best service. Meanwhile, Trump continued to periodically visit his restaurant. Sometimes he remained incognito, and other times he came with security, but he always paid attention to the quality of the staff's work. This time, he entered the restaurant again without warning, wanting to assess how things were going in his establishment. He was dressed in a sharp, dark blue suit, with a slight smile on his face, and nothing seemed to suggest that this visit would be anything out of the ordinary. When he entered, Trump Lux. The atmosphere was as luxurious as usual. Elegant chandeliers lit up the tables, and waitstaff moved discreetly between guests, smiling and offering menus. Emma, standing at the counter, immediately noticed him. Her heart skipped a beat when she realized who the client was. Donald Trump. But now she didn't feel fear or nervousness, only professional interest. She approached his table with a gentle smile, and her manner of speaking was now confident, calm, and friendly. "Good evening, Mr. Trump. How can I assist you today?" she asked, not hiding her professional confidence. Trump looked up from the menu and assessed her behavior. He noticed how much she had changed. Her demeanor was completely different now. She was no longer just a waitress doing her job, but someone who genuinely cared about the quality of service. "Good evening, Emma," he replied with a slight smile. "You look good. It seems like some changes have happened with you." Emma blushed slightly but managed to control her embarrassment and respond. "Thank you, Mr. Trump. I'm really trying to improve my skills." "Trying is one thing, but really, changing is quite another," he said, watching her reaction carefully. "I understand," she replied as she proceeded with taking the order. "Today, I recommend our steak with blue cheese and a glass of Bordeaux. It's one of our chef's best dishes." Trump nodded, confirming his choice. This was the moment when he could again see how his restaurant was functioning, but now from a different perspective. He was impressed by the changes that had occurred, not just with Emma, but with the overall atmosphere of the restaurant. He knew this wasn't a coincidence, but the result of the right steps taken by the team. A few minutes later, Emma returned with the order. She was fully confident in herself, and her manner of speaking was top-notch. "Here's your steak with blue cheese and a glass of Bordeaux," she said, placing the dish in front of Trump with a gentle smile. "Excellent, thank you," Trump replied, carefully examining the steak. "It looks amazing." He started eating, and Emma stood by, waiting to hear his feedback. Since their conversation had been light and informal, Trump felt that his test today could end very positively. "You know, Emma," Trump said, setting down his knife and fork, "you really are doing well. That's quite a change." Emma was happy to hear these words from him. She smiled and, not hiding her joy, replied, "Thank you, Mr. Trump. I'm really trying." He nodded and continued, "I've noticed that you've improved your work, and it's not just words. You're doing everything necessary for people to feel comfortable. That's what I expect from all my employees." After this, Trump, pleased with the results, returned to the manager, Carlisle, who had been observing from afar. "Carlisle," Trump said, "Emma really has made progress. She's improved the service quality. You should be proud of her achievements." Carlisle relaxed slightly after hearing the positive feedback, but was ready to listen further. "I'm glad everything has changed, Mr. Trump. She's really trying." Trump smiled and added, "Let her keep going in the same direction. I think her potential will benefit not only the restaurant, but her future as well." As Emma passed by, she once again caught Trump's gaze. She felt her heart swell with pride. This moment had become a real acknowledgement of her hard work. When Trump left the restaurant, he didn't forget to leave generous tips, but instead of the usual reward, he left another lesson. "You've gone through difficulties and learned a lesson. Keep working on yourself, and you'll achieve more." Emma, standing by the door and watching him leave, understood. This wasn't just a random event, but a crucial turning point in her life. She was now confident in her future, knowing that every step was a chance to become better.